Get ready to quit the build. The QTB crew is rounding up all the gaming news and hot topics of the week with a little extra something. And here are your hosts, Bruno, Brad, and Nick.
Yeah.
What it do? You're listening to the QTB podcast. I'm Bruno, your host with the most, and with me as always is Nick. I love all things Bick, my co-host.
I love big products. I tell you, that's the lighters, the pens. Yeah,
it's everything that's at checkout. Have you noticed that? Everything that's at checkout,
it's
Bic Nation. They go in there and they're like, you know what do people need at the checkout? Pens, whiteout, lighters,
Snickers.
Right next to the Snickers.
Yeah.
We got you. Stuff that can be thrown right there. What? Well, that's not what this podcast is about.
No.
But we're just trying to get back on topic from an amazing pre-show. That's right. If you're not listening to our pre-show, you are missing out because there is awesome content coming at you. That's right. It's like a Saturday morning show. We got them super stickers out there on YouTube. You can get us in the super chat.
We do have those. The super
really
stickers.
Have super stickers. What it do? But Nick, listen. Seriously, there.
Okay, serious.
There's some things that we got to talk about here, okay, in the gaming world, because not all things were kosher after this Gamescom thing, which, by the way, I got to give it to Sony to have the cojones to go ahead and say, bing bong, price hike on the PS5 during what is supposed to be a celebration of games, just in case you wanted to play
right in the middle of it.
Yeah,
here's a pro controller, by the way. Oh, and
we're raising the price.
console you don't have yet. Yeah, about that. Oh my gosh. We'll get into it. We're gonna get into it big time. But one thing we will say later on in the show, Bruno, we will be getting to that. Also talking about the Xbox leak. That supposedly there's going to be a new subscription tier that will let you add friends and family into the mix. A system that's kind of already been tried and tested by Nintendo of all people. Not usually the first people to get in on that, but we'll chat about it for sure. But of course, as always, Bruno, we got to kick things off here with our kind of what you been playing segment. What you been doing? I'll kick things off. I got to tell you, man. Game Pass, man. How about that Game Pass? You know what I mean? I mean, they got games on there, and I play them when I have time. I jumped into Cooking Simulator. You know, they've been having a lot of new sim games that have been dropping on Game Pass. And so, I have time to cook in real life. I say, well, let's live out the fantasy of actually being able to prepare my own gourmet meals.
Yeah, not nearly as fun when you have all the ingredients right there. It's like when you watch Rachel Ray try and cook a meal, and she's like, and I'm just going to reach into this random cabinet and pull out tarragon. Everyone's got that in their spice cabinet, right, tarragon? Let's just go ahead and add some in here. I'm like, listen, Rachel, I got the pots and pans set. I'm with you, but I don't have all these spices. Right?
Wait, not fresh.
Enter Cooking Simulator.
Thank you. What always gets me is after they're done doing the prep work, and then they have the convenient thing they pull out of the finished product, and people are applauding as if it's been done in real time. It's I don't.
Yeah. No.
Who are you fooling here? I don't. Not me.
Somebody.
But
we already had this one prepared. Let me go ahead and pull this out of the oven. It's a 30-minute show.
So. Every now and then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to try a sim game out because I want to see, what if it really is true to form, or if I get a feel, or maybe even it hooks me in a way I wasn't expecting. We've had a lot of great sim games come out. Power Washing Simulator, House Flipper, right? That was
Goat
a home
Simulator.
Renovation. Well, that's 1 and 3. That's just those are the games. That's the goats.
That's how intense Goat Simulator 3 is. It skipped over the second one. It just skipped right over it. You don't even need it. On to 3.
Hop dimensions and came back for 3. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. But so Cooking Simulator, it's been out on PC for a while, and it's tough, man. What I wasn't expecting was the tutorial holds your hand, But then like you buy recipes to use in this like real time restaurant. You got to get this food out on time. And what happens is after you do like the tutorial, you realize you have to actually memorize the recipes, or otherwise you have to like keep running back to like your computer in the back office and like look up the recipe. So it's either going to be like I have to write this stuff down and have an actual cookbook in front of me because I'm not going to remember anything. And as you can probably imagine, the lamb came out raw. You know, I served raw product to a customer, and my restaurant got shut down.
See, that's why I stick with Overcooked, Nick. It's way more grounded in realism, trying to throw ingredients over to, riverboat casinos and then make sushi for a bunch of, I don't know who we're serving out there on this tugboat.
Stressful game, man.
It's like a Busch Gardens, river rafting thing, but you have to cook alongside it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's my extent for the cooking games. Overcooked, right?
Okay.
But I am with you on the simulators, okay? Because I've been playing Assetto Corsa for PC, and I'm sorry to those who tuned into the live stream the other night. And we had some technical difficulties. We're still ironing out the kinks with everything, and I think I've done a pretty good job of knowing what to do next for it, because it's a weird setup with the wheel and everything. But Nick, I gotta tell you, I've never had so much fun in a racing game before, especially for the just amount of modding content that there is for this game. This doesn't feel like a game that died several years ago. It doesn't feel like a game that came out in 2014. If anything, Assetto Corsa feels like almost like the Fortnite of racing sims in that respect, where you've just got a constant flood of content coming in, from the community and from actual studios with actual, legit car packs and tracks and stuff. I was able to find my local go-kart track out here, Pat's Acres, and race that around. So cool. I mean, that is way too cool. Like, and there's Summit Point raceways on there. I grew up next, going to there on the East Coast, and seeing these tracks and being able to kind of race them, around, at least albeit virtually, is pretty amazing, because I don't really have the car. I'm not taking the Prius out, Nick. I don't know if you knew this or that. No,
the Prius isn't going out to Pat's.
No, I just hit I hit the gas and it just goes. What were you trying to do?
What are you thinking?
Wow. Yeah. Whoa. Hold it there.
Emergency shutdown. Let's talk this through.
Yes,
I love it.
It looks at me like that anytime you go pedal to the metal. But I've been enjoying I think this is the year for I think we're getting into that simulation everything. I don't know, it was IGN that posted, but there's like farming simulator and there's Euro Truck Simulator, and we've got I don't know when Terry's gonna get into that, but there's all different types of simulators out there right now. So whether you're power washing, house flipping, or cooking, you can
or goating.
Or goating, or racing. They've got you covered, right?
Something for everybody, and that's great with the Assetto Corsa, because it's always great to see a game that's kind of reached the end of its official life cycle, have that ability to allow community support to continue to kind of keep that game going. I think of games like Gary's Mod, or even Team Fortress 2, where the game hasn't been supported for a long time, but it's the community that creates content and mods around it and still rallies around it in a way that kind of lets the game continue to exist. And I have seen some very impressive racing sequences that have been created in that game that people have said, like, oh, is that GTA, or is that, is it some more recent title? So that's really cool. And I'll tell you one other great game that just came out, or collection of games that's keeping that classic gameplay alive.
I know what you're saying.
You know where I'm going with it. It's the Cowabunga collection from TMNT.
Play it.
I got one.
I got one.
I'll keep talking.
About it. Yep.
I'll keep talking because I mean, look, we've been hyping this game up for a while. Obviously, Shredder's Revenge got everybody's palates ready to go for more, classic TMNT action. But I haven't had a chance to download or actually play it yet. But here we go. This is gonna be, and they got online co-op, Bruno. So we're gonna be surfing those sewers.
I am ready to surf them, baby. Let's go. This is what I'm talking about. Right after the recent drop of Shredder's Revenge, to have something like the Cowabunga collection come out and just totally rock it, with all of the classics, not just like the NES and SNES, games, but we're talking the arcade game, and we've also got the Game Boy games in there, which I don't know how many people played. I loved them. I was jamming them all the way up to Grandma's house every time, baby. I'm ready for it. That's what I want. I realized last night, I was like, I should have downloaded that. And then before the podcast, I was like, I got to get ready. I don't have time to dive into this, but you better believe right after we're done recording here, I am going to be jumping into that. That is a must have. And, with the arcade game packages like that coming with we've got there's a Pac-Man one out. There's a Capcom one. There's I think the Atari one and a couple other ones as well. You really can have all of these classic arcade games right at your fingertips, and especially if you're getting it on something like Switch with the Nintendo, the NES, the SNES, and then the Nintendo 64 with Wave Race, recently coming out. So, that truly is amazing too, which, by the way, if you haven't played Wave Race 64, you are doing yourself a massive, disservice to all of gaming to see how incredible the physics were in this game with these waves, like these mesh waves that essentially, rolled and allowed you to jump and whatnot. Great. It really was. It was a showcase of what the Nintendo 64 could do. And that's what really is amazing about the history of that console is like all these games were made as almost like, hey, here's a test to show you what we could do. And they were like, actually, this is fun. Let's go ahead and make it a game. Like,
nail it every time and have one of the best console launch lineups of all time. Yeah.
Right?
Amazing. Yeah. Wave Race is amazing. TMNT, obviously the Cowabunga collection is going to be amazing. And I'll tell you, Bruno, the turtles may be heroes in the half shell, but the real heroes in a whole shell are our sponsors. That is Winner with their Taco Party Collection Challenge. And I got to tell you, the Winner app offers the best online claw machines in the world, Bruno. You know that, and much more in their incredible, crunchy, perfectly seasoned game room. And the greatest Taco Tuesday of your life is awaiting with their Taco Party Collection. Here's what you do, all right? Download the app, find the star, tap collections, okay? And look for the Taco Party Collection. And you're going to be able to access this extra caliente challenge. Win the 5 taco-themed items like the Taco Bell Fire Sauce Bottle 3-pack. I didn't know they sell bottled Taco Bell Fire Sauce. That's amazing. And the Tricera Taco Holder. You heard me correctly. It's a dinosaur that holds tacos. Yes. You will win a $50 Taco Bell gift card when you complete that collection to go get those tacos and have you the best Taco Tuesday of your G-dang life. Let's go. Make any purchase and shipping is free for life. Token packages are as low as $4. Download the app today, guys. Use the link in our description. That helps us out and helps out our sponsors. They are amazing. You can play for free, no registration needed until you win your first prize. And if you recharge with their web pay site, pay.app.winnerwinner.com, and use promo code Dale, what's he going to do, Bruno?
He's going to give you some cool stuff. He's going to give you the deets.
He's going to give you the cool stuff. A sweet deal.
A sweet deal.
30% bonus tokens. I put you on the spot there. With your next purchase. Oh, yeah. And, of course, we have our trusty mascot there, Winner's trusty mascot token, standing by. You're in matching colors. Look at that. Well, no, that's his skin. Yeah, you're both wearing yellow and red. Yeah, that you match.
Yeah. This is orange, man. But,
you know, in that lighting. How would I know?
I don't know. We'll change up the lighting. There we go.
Oh yeah, now I can see. Now you look like you're wearing Dayglow. I love it, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's great. Well, thanks as always to our sponsors. Winner. Go get you some tacos for God's sake.
Yeah.
All right, Bruno. Our big story for today coming from comicbook.com. And it's talking about Game Pass's a leak, rather, that came out. I don't think they intended for this to happen, but there was a graphic that came out before its time, kind of showing that there is something on the way that people can get excited about, and that is a new subscription tier for the Xbox Game Pass for friends and family. So at this point, what we do know in this article coming from comicbook.com, stating that Microsoft has already started initial testing of a family plan option for Game Pass in select regions, but not in the US as of right now. We know that they're going to be rolling that out over time, but now we actually have a graphic that was leaked that shows this Game Pass friends and family concept that will seemingly allow users to pay a higher monthly cost while also extending the benefits of Game Pass Ultimate to other users. And Bruno, you and I are no stranger to this concept of family sharing access to a subscription plan because we're doing it with Nintendo, right?
Yes, and I couldn't be more happy with that because it allows me to get the booster course pack with Mario Kart, which my wife and I just ran around Katamari Desert.
Nice.
And wasn't that, what is it, the desert?
Calamari?
Yeah. Calamari, what did I say?
Katamari Desert was crazy.
Oh, that would be crazy. Calamari Desert's pretty crazy, dude. What are the calamari doing way out there? That's
I don't know in that desert. What's that train doing?
I don't know, but we're playing that, and not only that, just like I said, the addition of those classic retro games like Nintendo 64 collection, and the just the constant additions that they're throwing in there. I think that's definitely the future of gaming subscriptions is this friends and family pass, because ultimately speaking it benefits everyone when you've got more people on your system, especially we know that these stores take a percentage of every transaction that goes down with virtual stuff. So anytime you're giving away a free game, that's a benefit for both the developer and whatever platform you're buying it on. So if you're buying it on Xbox, it's giving, a small percentage or whatever. And, you might say, well, it's only a drop in the bucket, right? It's only a penny or something like that, or per purchase or whatever it may be. It's not quite that low, but look at Office Space. If you've never seen that movie, that's literally what they did.
Down.
They just they just basically did that. They took cents off of every transaction, and when you've got millions and millions of transactions per day, that adds up just on the sheer fact of hosting that type of content. So it's a win when you add more people to the ecosystem, and I think that's a win for everyone as gamers to be able to kind of save some bucks, get in on the Game Pass action, and really benefit from this. Now, I hope, Nick, that this doesn't create a decline in the quality that we're receiving from Game Pass, because you and I both know that it's unmatched in terms of the lineup that you get, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't beat the selection, but I mean, the bigger thing is a lot of these smaller studios, okay, when they make the choice to release on Game Pass, and that they could say, hey, we're going to go it on our own and make it to console. And you got to realize a lot of these smaller studios, it's a process to actually get published on these platforms. Like you need a publisher. It's very difficult to be, an all-in-one studio that gets put on PC. It's easy enough to get on Steam, relatively speaking, but then to get, multi-platform releases, it gives you so much more exposure in today's world. You look at just the sheer volume where every single platform is just inundated with new games. PlayStation and Nintendo and Steam are very, very notorious for this. They're just shoveling out the games, Bruno. I mean, it's just almost anything you can think of is passing their quality checks and making it onto the store, which makes it so that if you have a decent quality game, okay, that maybe no one's heard of, but the discoverability of your game in an organic way has really gone downhill on those platforms. And so to have a system like Game Pass where you can apply, or maybe your approach, I don't know which one it is, and get that front-loaded benefit. You know when you're on Xbox, the way that it's set up, that you're going to make X number of dollars up front for the game. And then it's, whenever that contract ends, people can still make that purchase later, oftentimes for a discounted rate after it leaves the store. A great example of this is our network sponsor and our network show, 1 Hour, One Decision. Because their format is very cool, because by randomly selecting a Game Pass game, you get some back catalog games that you may not have ever thought of trying otherwise. So now those games are getting press coverage. Those games are getting podcasts like 1H1D, Exact, Achievement Unlocked, right? People are playing your game. That's awesome. That should be a rare achievement, because it's so great in the modern era to have that avenue of a guaranteed payout, of knowing as a developer that you're going to get onto Game Pass, you're going to get something. And then, who knows what the finer details of those contracts are, but from what I've heard, a lot of people are very happy to get their game on Game Pass, because they know they would have never, ever been heard of otherwise, especially within the Xbox ecosystem. And
it's also a benefit, because I think there are a lot of people like myself who want to give these games a try, but aren't necessarily willing to throw $5 here, $10 here, $20 there, to experience it, right? Like, I would rather spend that money on DLC or skins or stuff for the games that I know I'm going to play, and maybe take my chances on a AAA title. But to have these within the offering of something like Game Pass, where I can download it, try it, and not only just download it, but a lot of these games are available via xCloud as well, so I don't even have to download it. I can just pop over, hit the little cloud button, and just go to town and see if it's something worth actually downloading. So it's even, one step further from downloading. And that, to me, is really, you couldn't ask for a better system, for gamers, for the players, right? Unlike PlayStation, where we've got, AAA titles that are coming to, quote unquote, AAA titles that aren't included on day one with their offering, right? You've got to pay that extra $60, and I get my money's worth out of Game Pass. I know you do as well. If you play, if you just play 2 AAA titles a year, essentially you get your money's worth out of it, give or take. And that, to me, is a huge benefit. And to know in the future that these games are going to be released on Game Pass, that, that's going to be Xbox's calling card, right? That day one Game Pass release, that's a hard thing to compete against. And Sony doesn't seem to be stretching to try and do anything to mitigate that. They don't understand the Game Pass or how it works. And the release of what they have coming out is definitely not a match. And I think that this is just one of those extra offerings where you're going to say, hey, this is a benefit for all gamers, just like Nintendo with their family plan. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be lots of little things. Get in on the community, right? Like,
join the family, man. Look, and so what I think is going to happen, we had mentioned the Nintendo plan, and it's very unusual for Nintendo to be the ones that jump the gun and come up with something first in terms of a concept that apparently is being reproduced by Xbox, because Nintendo's already doing this. Yeah, exactly. So what happens is, with the Nintendo Switch Online plan, with or without the expansion pack, there is a family plan option, and it's genius because you can pay the full price by yourself. I think for the expansion pack, it's like $60 a year, and that's for 40 or 60, one of those numbers, and that's going to be for just you, right, for one account. Yeah. But if you go for the family route, which is $80 per year, now you've got 8 slots, and they don't ask questions about where they're located, where they're logging in from. Just give them an email address. They'll send them a link, get them on the family plan, and now they have access to all the things that you do for twice the price that you were paying before, but now you're splitting it 8 ways. So effectively, it comes down to $10 a year when you're splitting it with 7 other people. You can't beat that deal. And it brings more people into the ecosystem, right? That wouldn't have been a part of Game Pass, or in this case, Nintendo Switch Online. So I'm imagining we're probably going to see something comparable to that, where you're going to be paying somewhere roughly equivalent of twice what you're paying now, but you're going to get access to multiple slots where if you fill them all in, it's going to make it more than worthwhile. That's especially important, Bruno, because you have to have in a household, where there's multiple consoles. A lot of people, they got the Xbox Series X, but because there's so many Xbox One games that are available on Game Pass, or games coming out that are available for both generations and are cross generation and who can play together on the same series of consoles, that you end up with situations where you need more than one login who has access to Game Pass, so they can have their own unique gamer tags that can log in and play these games together in an online co-op setting outside of couch co-op. Yeah. So genius idea. We still haven't actually seen, when is it going to release? What are the pricing is going to be? Is it going to have the perks that we're already seeing with Switch Online? But it seems to be the direction that we're going in. And I will say also, we have a comment here from Epic Capture Productions that family plans are where it's at. Game Pass is relying on a bunch of tiny purchases versus a few big ones. And like you said, Bruno, you just play those couple games every year, and man, you got the value.
You're ready to go. I'm ready for it. And I mean, it definitely opens the door for a lot of different things to happen. A lot of content creators can use these types of things, via Patreon, like our own Patreon. Oh,
wait a second.
Nick, wait a minute.
Acting like you stumbled into it.
I did stumble into it.
Accidental segue?
Accidental segue right in there because...
Man. Make my job easy.
We've got lots of perks. Tell them about it.
Every now and then you get one. Of course, thanks as always to our Patreon supporters, like our QTB and Fuego supporters. I'm talking about Epic Capture Productions, Matt.Bat, and Alexa, and our QTB Plus supporters, Nick, the Dudist Monk, Indie Gamiacs, Alan Abadessa, Mr. Grove Games, the Intergalactic Pinecone, Fluffy Bunny, and Kawaii Potato. Thank you, as always, to our patrons. You can support us directly at patreon.com/quitthebuild. Tiers start as low as $2 per month. We just put out our QTB Nostalgia Vault for the month of August, talking about arcade games, our favorite arcade games, and our patrons as well get to chime in. So it's a great way to talk about all sorts of topics, video games and beyond, of yesteryear and today. So again, check it out, and thanks to our supporters. That was nice.
Yeah. I liked it.
It was a good episode. Yeah. I think almost every person that answered our question said Time Crisis for like one of their favorite arcade games.
Oh my gosh, I love Time Crisis. It is one of the best games. And actually, I got to give it to PlayStation. I think it was PlayStation 2 that actually came out with a Time Crisis hookup where you could play a peripheral and the game. I still, it's one of the games that my wife knows, when we go to any arcade, if there's Time Crisis, she's like, yes, you can play. And that's love. Okay. That is love, because Time Crisis is no cheap thing, right? It's usually it's $4.
It's a time and money crisis, right? Financial crisis is more like it. Am I right?
Yeah, how many coins I gotta put in here? Financial crisis. Wow.
Oh man, do you take Bitcoin? I don't. Oh boy. Well, great episode. So make sure to check that Patreon episode out. And Bruno, okay, we got to get into it. And this is just gonna be one of those episodes where we have that 1-2 punch of here's a good thing from Xbox and a bad thing from Sony. Yeah. There was a glimmer of hope there when Sony released that Pro Controller design right at Gamescom, of being this is a really cool thing to mix into to game releases, to have hey, here's a peripheral that you weren't expecting from a company that doesn't usually release things in this manner or announce things in this manner. But I'm starting to wonder if that was a result of them knowing the PR just assault that they were about to receive from this story. And it's coming from tomsguide.com, saying that the PS5...
All of the glory of the controller, and then... You what?
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Oh man, and that's going to be the trend here, the theme, because this story is talking about the PS5 price hike. So what happened is that we found out that in multiple countries, not in the U.S. at least as of right now, but I also wonder if that was part of the damage control. Is that they are increasing the price of the PS5 by £50, depending on what country you're in. But in the UK, they will be receiving that price hike across the board for all models of PS5s, and getting absolutely nothing in return other than the same product they would have received before. And this is very, very concerning. There's a huge thing that's been happening over the last couple of years, and the QTB podcast, we've been talking about it nonstop, and that is the availability of consoles and just the unusual cycle that we've been through. Right, we've been through the ringer with just what the pandemic has done to access to consoles, and of course the microchip shortage, that the semiconductor chips that resulted in just not being able to get these things produced as fast as the companies would want. Well, you fast forward to August, right, of 2022, and now there are tons of retail stores that you can walk into and you can get a Nintendo Switch. You can get an Xbox Series S or X, something that you would have seemed impossible just a year ago. But the logistics seem to be working out, and yet the PS5 is still stuck in this in between of like, you can't get it. Scalpers are still running the table on control of the product. And for some reason, Sony, who is still, making billions every year, said, well, rather than absorb the cost, like every console has done in the history of consoles being sold under the cost it is to produce, because they have good faith that you are going to be invested in their ecosystem and make those transactions that they get their 30% cut of. No, they're just going to go ahead and bilk you on the front end for an extra $50. Go ahead and give it to them, Bruno. Go ahead and give it to them. Yeah.
That's what they get. Mm-hmm. That's what they get. Not good. No. You heard them. No. Yes. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Well deserved a boo. A boo all around. I mean, if it wasn't hard enough to get a PS5, now you've gotta get more money before you can, get it. So it's just disappointing news. Like, it really is. There's nothing. I've seen some comments online of people saying like, well, it's not a luxury. Like, you don't have to have it. So if you can't afford the price hike, then, you're missing the point, and you're part of the problem. Like, that's not something that, should be said at this stage in the game, especially considering the fact that, PlayStation is working on a new model. Xbox is working on a new model. So, you're paying for what? What are we getting more out of this? And that's what's really going to slap PlayStation fanboys in the face, is they're realizing something that I realized back in 2012, and it took me a long time to realize it. But that PlayStation nickel and dimes their fan base. Anything to get just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. You know what I mean? Just a little bit more than what the Game Pass is going to cost. Just a little bit more than what the Xbox costs. Just a little bit more than what it previously cost, right? Yeah, what's to say that, $60 for a AAA title, that's just a little bit more than what you're already paying. It adds up. And that's how they get their money, not by delivering the player's experience, right? And at this stage in the game, I'd find it hard pressed for any PlayStation fan to really make a compelling argument as to why the PlayStation 5 is the better buy at this stage. Please tell me why, all things considered. I'd love to hear it. If you want to email us, it's quitthebuild@gmail.com. And if you've got something positive to say, we will share it with the podcast world whenever we get your message. But I honestly don't think there is anything redeemable right now about the PlayStation 5 or its ecosystem. and with games like Spider-Man, the only thing that really attracted me to the PlayStation in the first place being dropped on Steam, what do I have to go for really?
Right.
Please tell me.
Some of their biggest IPs, right, are showing up on PC now. And it's like, here's where it's a double slap to the face, Bruno, is that they stopped production of the PS4, right? So now you can't get that. So the PS5 is going to be pretty much how you need to make that purchase to get involved in the games that Sony's producing. And like you said, their own answer to the Game Pass, even at the highest tier, which is pricier than Game Pass Ultimate, doesn't give you access to anything other than timed demos for those full-priced games. So it's just, and people have been, very critical of the emulation, especially on like the PS3 games that they include at that tier. So, there's a reason why there was a lot of speculation, a lot of media coverage leading up to the release of those new PS Plus tiers. And then once it released, it was just no one's talking about it anymore. And there's a very good reason for that. Despite having a robust catalog of games, it just doesn't offer the same benefits. And so once you isolate those two things, right, saying, well, it's never going to be what Game Pass is. You're like Sony always has. You live and die by your exclusives. And now that you're seeing them come to other platforms, like you said, there's no reason at all to even begin to say, okay, well, I'm going to hop in and make that early investment into I say early. I mean, you still can't get it, so it still feels like if you found one, it would be an early investment. But I don't understand how in 2022 this is the move. I mean, this article from Tom's Guide, Bruno, is saying, matter of factly, Sony reported $1.5 billion in net, not gross, net income in just the last quarter alone. So for them to come out and say, oh, well, we had, and they gave the standard lines, right? Oh, increased, price for parts for these things. So what? Eat it. Like that's the whole. Every console in the history of consoles has been released at a loss because you're supposed to, like I said before, you're supposed to go in, buy the games. The software is where you make your money because there's low overhead, especially in this space where there's basically no physical products being shipped anymore. That they just make their 30% and they call it a day. But I think it was a video from, was it Mighty Keith that I shared with you that he was poking fun at it. And at the very end, he was like, I like laughing at this kid who gets his card declined at Target because he only had enough for the original MSRP price with tax. And he's like, "Hey man, Sony's getting sued for $6 billion, and they're passing that cost right on to you.
You're paying for it." Exactly.
Harsh.
and it's something that I don't want to hear about God of War Ragnarok. I really don't care. You know what I mean? Like I've played God of War before. Same with Uncharted. I've played with those. Do I think they are worth the amount of hype that garnered? No, I don't think so. And honestly, I think that, for me, a barometer is always going to be, I'm an Xbox fanboy, but it's always going to be Halo. Halo is going to be the barometer. It won Game of the Year. So, at one point in its life cycle. And not only did it deliver a fantastic campaign experience, but you also got a groundbreaking multiplayer experience. So all in all, it was, an amazing breakthrough in gaming in terms of what deserves Game of the Year. And now we're moving on to these things where it's either or. It's either or, either a robust story, or a great multiplayer experience, but never really both anymore. I mean, I can't really name one in recent years that's come out that's been like, man, that was Game of the Year multiplayer and Game of the Year campaign, because it hasn't happened. You know what I mean? We get botched on one or the other. And I think that when you've got games that don't hold that candle, to something like that, that's where Halo is for me. I judge everything off, based off of that in terms of, the experience that something delivers, not necessarily the genre, obviously, because some people are going to say, well, I prefer RPGs, or I prefer racing games, or whatever it may be. That's what makes a game of the year experience. But if that's what PlayStation fans are excited about, right? Because what have they been excited about recently other than Gran Turismo? Right. Like, that recently came out. So we've got God of War coming out right before or right after a PS5 price hike. And it's the only game that they plan on delivering, really. So there you go. You're paying all of this for a God of War Ragnarok simulator, and that's it, because after that, after the 2 weeks, the 3 weeks, the month, whatever it takes to play, it will go down, and there will be nothing left on Twitch. Like, the player base will drop, and it'll go back to Fortnite. It'll go to Warzone 2, right? Warzone, it'll go back to whatever is the big game at the time. So these experiences that Sony are trying to sell us and say, hey, this is for the players, it's really not. Just pull your head out of your butt, right? And look at the broader picture of things. Now, if you've already got a PS5, this isn't a big deal. If you're one of the scalpers, this is obviously great news for you. Because that's even more money that you're going to get. But I think still, if you want my opinion, parents out there, if you're listening and you're thinking about the holidays, your best bet is a Nintendo Switch or an Xbox Series S, because it's much easier to find. But those two games, and I would say if you get if you get either of those, be sure to get that Game Pass, that Game Pass for either Nintendo or for Xbox. Let let the family have unlimited downloads from the vast library, and just go to town. All you need there is to just buy a couple extra controllers, unless you're the Switch, and then it comes with two, Nick. So
you get just right out of the box, man. You can't beat it. It's a bing bong all the way.
It is.
It's amazing. Yeah, I think one great parallel is, and this the article from Tom's Guide kind of goes into it, talking about this is not precedent or unprecedented, because and maybe Sony saw this and said, hey, we can do that too now. Someone else has opened the floodgates. That Meta released a price increase for the Meta Quest 2. They increased the price of that unit by $100. Or initially, when the Meta Quest 2 came out, it was actually a price cheaper than the Quest 1. So that was supposed to be the whole idea of getting it into the homes, right? And you have people have access to this cheap but still robust VR technology, so that it would be more of a household item.
But I liken that to more like a Kickstarter. That happens all the time on Kickstarter. Early adopters tend to get a discount for backing a product. That's different than something that has made a full release to the public and is not under, this wasn't a beta test of the PlayStation 5, right? They were selling us on the full experience, and it's like the Michael Scott Paper Company calling to ask for more money. Like, that's literally what it's like. We're gonna need to charge you more for that paper that we gave you, right? So that's what it feels like. It feels like, what the heck is this?
Amazing! Wow, what a comparison! I love it. But at least in the Meta Quest 2 example, they tried to offset it by saying, hey, we'll include Beat Saber and like all the songs. You get that at least. Whereas Sony is just like, no, it's just a price hike. So. It's bad faith, man, because it's saying that you don't think that your own platform is robust enough and solid enough that people are going to be spending their time and hard-earned money in the shop for you to make that 30%. It's just, there's no corporate line that is going to really make people look at it and say, oh yeah, this makes sense, right? Oh, okay, you're good. Go ahead and raise the price. It's like offering square pancakes, as a promotional tool. It's not good. It's not going to cook in the middle, Bruno. It's It's not going to cook in the middle.
They look like little sheets of paper, though, Nick.
I got it. Oh, man. Amazing stuff. Well, we have a great comment from Iron Penguin saying, less Sony and more Terry time. I'll tell you, Iron Penguin, we... for those of you that don't know, we debuted Terry's new cooking segment on our social media, on YouTube, TikTok, all that. It's called it's Terry Time. And look, this is great stuff, okay? Because we got Terry making recipes in like 10 seconds. It's like 3 steps.
What?
It's not. I mean, it's the fastest recipe you've ever seen in your life. He made poutine in like 6 seconds. I couldn't believe it. It's Terry Time.
That is quick but efficient, and I learned something: how to make poutine. But I mean, there's always going to be some controversy over like cheese curds before or topped after the gravy. You know, which goes first, the gravy or the cheese curds? Kind of like the age-old tale of which goes first, the cereal or the milk. Is that a debate? That's a good debate. I didn't think. I always put cereal first. What about you?
Yeah, I think I did cereal and then milk.
Yeah, cereal, and then you pour milk over top of it. Yeah, but apparently some psychopaths out there are pouring a bowl of milk and then topping it with cereal. I don't know what.
Unbelievable.
What is happening in the world, Nick?
We've got the food content online, Bruno. So we're doing that. We got Terry Time. We got fun jingles about songs. So. Yeah, Iron Penguin, stay tuned because we have another episode of
It's Terry Time.
Coming to an internet near you. Oh, I love that jingle, man.
Me
that's
too.
That's like the by Menon of the QTB jingles, you know.
It really is.
Terry Time.
I actually have the by Menon.
By Menon. It's Terry Time.
See?
Same thing.
Same thing. You didn't think we have an audience, and we do. Okay, that's because on the QTB podcast,
You're hearing things.
That's right. You're hearing things.
You are.
I mean, we got it all.
Oh man,
what
don't we have? I mean, we're just, we're becoming a full-fledged media brand. My gosh.
Did you ever watch Seinfeld when George Costanza tried to make his name into the by Menon thing?
No, I remember like the voicemail thing he did.
Well, he did this too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, George.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah,
this one.
Message at the beep. I must be out, or I'd pick up the phone. Where could I be? Believe it or not, I'm not home.
Yeah. Well, he also did Costanza.
Costanza, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, but yeah, I guess that's a great time to mention, by the way, hey, get connected with us on social media. We have got so much going on right now with our short form content, with our live streams we got happening here on YouTube and beyond. And we got some exciting live streams coming up planned here very soon, so stay tuned for that. And sponsored streams from Winner Winner. We've been playing those live arcade machines, both myself and, of course, our amazing network partners over there at Kung Fu Penguin, but also Manda, who showed up. It was Manda Monday. She was catching all the things. Great to see. Love to see it. I mean, it's never been a better time to be a part of the QTB family. And the best way to do it, Bruno, is to go to our website, quitthebuild.com. Articles. We got merch. So you can rep us out in the street. And, of course, get that swag. That's Squad swag. Go over to the community page as well, right? Where you can connect with us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And, of course, we have a Discord. Shout out to Discord Lord Terry Time. Okay? Woo! He's making recipes and holding the fort down with those spicy memes. You can't go wrong. Thank you, everybody, as always, for listening. And, Bruno, why don't you take us on out of here? Password style.
Nick, it has been amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Nick, I'm Bruno.
And for Bruno, I'm Nick.
We missed you, Brad. Hope to see you next week on The Price is QTV. That's right. Give it to him.